It's working. We're on. It's done. Good evening. The 15th of August 2020. Just 10 minutes late. You can't really see the clock because of the light there, but it just say 9:40. We was uh, we was chatting about something very important. To be fair, it wasn't like usual idle gossip. So, Kev, you want to say hello and good evening and what?
Well, good evening, everybody. I hope we're all well.
I'll tell
Anybody
you what.
joining us later on when it isn't live, hope we're all good. Much love to you all. Got to be honest, a little bit nicer having a bit of cooler weather, although I still prefer the sun to be out, but can't have it all, can we? Won't be allowed, we're just peasants, we're not allowed sun. Anyway, yeah, it's all good, people. Lovely to see you. As I say, hope everybody's good. David and I had to cut short our enthusiasm for the conversation we were just having. We were going into one a bit when shit we're meant to be broadcasting. So here we are. But it's all good. We're all fired up. We've got a little bit of work to do this week for some people, and we know it's going to be epic.
It's incredible. It really is. Yeah, what's going on and the honour that we get sometimes when you couldn't imagine. Saying to Kev 10 years ago, no, 20 years ago, from 42, then I thought was high rolling DJing in cash in hand jobs. It's 20 odd years ago now. It's statute limitations and it's for entertainment purposes. But if you just could imagine how you think for all of us, you think you're doing well, and you're getting a one up, and you don't even know the levels of the game. You think you're at the top layer, but still you're in the bottom lower orbit. You still haven't made it to the outer space adventure, and to become a real lunatic, I suppose, in some ways, because you do see now your younger self and how you've been. And I was just saying to Kevin, the fact that we're looking at doing what we're doing in some areas is an honour and a privilege, but it's also making us quite sick that we can, Kevin's words, not mine, but we can come along and counteract the ones that are there that are proclaiming to protect, and stop that protection because it will in fact be harmful and not protective, and we're just non-academic, non-university, school of life, tree of life, not knowledge, doing and experiences. So for us to now go from, and I'll be honest, angry in the beginning, pot of gold, TDA, parking tickets, vehicles, material gain from the knowledge of indemnification due to the birth certificate fraud, which is not really fraud, it's more of a biblical choice and a spiritual preference, it seems, in this latter part of the cognizance. So it's an honour to all of us that make the decision to carry on and to not harm, maim, kill, end up in a custodial sentence scenario. We've all been a little bit, we'll say, non-angelic, non-saintly, but we haven't actually done it that bad or broke any of the laws. We may have ignored policy and rule and bent those policy and rules. Rules are meant to be broken. Law is meant to be obeyed. I see what they mean now. Rules are meant to be, and that's with the rich and the hoi polloi. So it's just, it's a serious area that we're in, and when you come out on tube and public, private, and we say things and we proclaim to, not Barry Barracuda style, but the information we have and the protection that you can perhaps apply if you was to consider using it, if it would be a benefit for something for you to start to get to know and use. And law is a weapon, is a tool like language. So we'll see what happens. We're very confident, and it's quite equally, it's quite sickening. Kev, do you want to say and expand on some of that in whatever way?
Yeah. As you were saying at the beginning there, the situation is you get certain entities come along and, would you like some help? We're here to help. And then here we are having to go and cut those alleged helpers out because they're not who they say they are. It's all so misconstrued, misrepresented, and of course you've got the poor people on the receiving end. These people come along, bearing gifts, alleged gifts, and if you just like to say the yes word, we'll be your best friends. And it won't. That's all they want. Oh, would you like some help?
Oh, we
yes,
can
please,
give them. Yeah, we could give them some inside information as they're on the .com and supporting us. We've just had it confirmed that it was verbally said, because it looks like there's no kind of orders, there's no kind of breaches of law, there's no harm, injury and loss, there's no way for the state to come in and forcibly execute warrants and orders due to potential harm and guardianship. So what they've done is they've sent round the community care team from the private corporation, masquerading as your local council, the corporation of the council, and they've masqueraded as government protection agency, child support, the one, and then they've said, would you like some help? And the lady said to us, because it was to do with my children, and they're going to judge me if I say no, and because of a background, I dare say, we're not able to tell you anything other than the basics. She said to look honourable. I said yes, to look good and to appease the system, and to, my maybe a blemished record there. Some of us have, like I've just said before, we've bent the rules. No big deal, it's happened. No law was broken, nobody was harmed, no criminals are present. We move on. And I just thought, isn't that sickening, Kev, that they they feel that it's like when people say they go to court, I'm just doing the right thing, I'll go and speak to the judge, he will listen to me, and it will all be sorted out. Little do they know. Same thing.
Exactly. So the situation here is, what's happened is they've come along with to look at the property, i.e. offspring, because they've allegedly got concerns. Now, between the council, who are pretending to be the social services, and the police, who, I have to say, have been very good in this. They've been making random visits, but between the two of them, they have produced statements that basically say the kids are absolutely fine, there's no issues, blah, blah, blah. The police have basically said there is absolutely no evidence of anything that the council are talking about. We don't have any problem. So what the people that have made the intrusion now is, now we want to dig around with the parents. But hang on, you're not here for the fucking parents. That's what they do. So they change tack, even though they've made statements saying the kids are fine.
Yeah.
We've got no concerns. So now they've turned their attentions on, now you've said yes, you've contracted with us, we fucking want you to do X, Y, Z. Well, that's absolutely fine. But I've got new information that says you're not what you say you are. So until such time as you answer X, Y, Z, we're putting a stop to everything.
Sorry.
We believe we're being defrauded, deceived. But as I say, this is the ridiculous thing. They've actually written themselves that there's no problems and that the offspring are well looked after. The police have said there's no evidence of the claims being made. Yet these fuckers are now threatening court action. For what? The police have said there's no evidence, and they themselves said everything's under control. Fear. We're going to take you to court. So what are you taking us to court for then? Let's have the evidence. What are you talking about? Because both of you say everything's fine. So what the fuck are you taking us to court for? Pricks. It doesn't make sense, people.
When we've got in the news Lady Gaga and these adrenochromes and the Lady Gaga, House of Gaga, and the claims and the Greek and Tom Hanks, take out Q, we know for a fact, and the other year, for the first time ever, the papacy called all of the clergy, or loosely term it as that, to the Vatican nation, and the first ever ass-kicking meeting. I'm not saying he achieved anything, but what came out of that in Freedom of Information Act, if you can believe that this is correct, but what got me was, he asked the question, what are you doing? Touching little boys and girls that aren't of legal age? Not the fact that you're getting caught or anything, you allegedly, why are you going? We've got a book, we've got a religion, you know what's right and wrong. Other than him being disappointed and etc., the answer back from some of the and these, remember who they are, you know, these clergymen, clemences, was, well, in, we'll say India, um, the consent of the sexual age is considerably lower than it is elsewhere. So we haven't broken the law. And he said, whoa, whoa, whoa. And remember UCC now as well, and the seas of commerce, the holy seas, and how it's all interlinked like the ether of the, I don't know, universe. And he said, this religion is not just applicable to Italy. You got the book, you wear the cloth, you preach the word, you carry, you know, the religion to India, you're governed under the Catholic religion. So even though India may have, you know, and I thought, did he really say that, or was that more of a press release to make the Vatican and Roma look a little bit more honourable in the face of? And all I'm using that for is because when you've got the professed house of God, and I've not heard Hitchens or anybody say this one, but I'm feeling like inspired by, I swear the spirit of is with us, of many, because you give them credit, they must be, you know, the energy. Now we know what we know, and I'm telling you, there's something. So with the professed, you know, saintly, holier than thou, vicar of Christ, etc., being caught out for stuff like this, do we think that anybody underneath is not able to do that? Because if they've done it and they're professed to be, we don't put them there in the layer cake of governance and holier than thou and principality and the bridge between the divine and the meek and the heathens and the have-nots, their words, not mine. And they've done that, then anybody underneath is pretty much ruthless, aren't they? Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, you know, not being funny. Here's the other thing that really makes me sick with the Catholic Church. Look at the iconography and that around these churches. Look at the shit in the front of the BBC's Wood Lane building.
Yeah.
Like paedophiles, fucking little children looking under fucking. That should be everything you need to know.
It wasn't.
Why is that shit on churches and etc. and buildings? It's fucking right in front of your eyes, people.
There was a time not long ago, I can't tell you the year, but my brain's saying 1600, so that's 400 years ago. It may be wrong, but that's to sit and wait 400 years for your mate to bring you a bud or something is a long time. But in the like, lineage of, like when I said the last person to be hung was about 1860 in England, I believe, that's long, but it's not so long, you know, in lineages of. And I was reading some books, and you know how sometimes they have the artist illustration, and they're done with just a black pen and the shading, but it's all black. It was one of them old type, you know. You could tell it was before Puffin and Collins and Oxford. It was a really middle type 1900s publication, and it said about the way that what was it now? Who the priest or the bishop or the one in the whoever it was, they're not always that high up, they can just be vicars, but the parishioner in general in question, they used to have groups of boys with them in like tunics, didn't they, with naked half bottoms, and this was a regular occurrence. And I'm like, hang on a minute there. And just it's quite disturbing that when you think one thing and you look in history and you find you get slapped in the face if you look in the right places.
It's absolutely outrageous to say it's all there right in front of your eyes, really.
And the demonisation of women and the temptation of the flesh and stuff like that, and that you're created wrong and that you need to fix yourself, and the words of these chats that I've seen with Hitchens, I'm like, I've never heard it put like that before. That's you know, that's quite, you know, an articulate way of just putting certain belief systems, and if you took them out of religion and did them outside, it'd be called a crime.
Yeah, we'd be locked up in 24 hours. Fucking unbelievable.
I wish I could write. Sorry about my terrible editing. I've got numbers all in at 0. I meant to put 9:30 p.m. I've put 0:39 p.m.
It's alright, it's a code.
And I put from 93 p.m. GMT is the top line above it.
93 p.m.
And now we're here. But you do know we're live every Saturday night, religiously, faithfully, generally. Typically.
Yeah, don't forget Dave's already done an epic broadcast today.
Yeah, that needed getting out. Liberty, people, government, Mr. Jones, straw men, certificates, monies, DVLA, DMV. I like how we can go American now as well and say across the pond, you've got this, IRS, we've got the IRS, DVLA, DMV. We've got quite ambidextrous with the troopers, penal code, constitution, president, prime minister, monarchy, parliament, lords. It's nice that we can just, because before it used to really do my mammary glands and get right on my tits. The confusion, Australia, the Commonwealth, and furthermore, it appears when I foolishly thought the Commonwealth had disappeared, it went underground, is what really happened here, didn't it? Look at what we found out, it didn't get destroyed. She secretly sat back and went, I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they just... They went and sloped off into their slimy little tunnels. That's what happened there. They certainly didn't disappear.
That coronation
Exactly
and the oath, the fact that QE2 is a corporation says it all. Not Elizabeth, Mountbatten, Windsor, and all of the other names. It's Queen Elizabeth II is a corporation, and now I forget the year, maybe just after the 60s or something. It's incredible. Yeah, it really is. Having the knowledge now, like what we've just heard by that lady tell us, they asked if I wanted help. It's like a vampire knocking. Can you an officer pulling you up, a driver, an assumed driver, all right, and they say this classic. Do you mind telling me what you did wrong there? Are you fucking having a laugh? I pay you wages. Do you want me to get in the fucking car and do your job for you as well? What do you mean? Incriminate myself. Sorry to be quite verbal, but that, in my youth, I've had that said to me a few times, and I'm like, oh, well, and because it's an officer, and you presume he's got evidence, and you think honesty is the best policy, never piss an officer off, they've got more power and more gang and resources, try to treat them with respect and courtesy, but with the due contempt that they deserve. So it's a fine line, and in the moment, things are easily lost. Especially
fine lines.
Especially packets of cannabis in fine lines, yeah, either or.
That's why they call it a fine line, is because you can barely see it.
So yeah, the incrimination, getting to do the work for them when they have no evidences for that. It's leading questions, which is why we say I don't answer questions. It's a great policy, rule of thumb, especially from old yibba jabba jibbity chops here. I don't answer questions. Sorry,
Yeah.
am I obliged? Is that mandatory? Am I obliged to? Am I under arrest? What's going on? You just come asking questions. And generally, because of the conditioning of Facebook and Twitter and all these media platforms where we just give this data to these vultures that use it against us back with stupid adverts and pop-ups and, whatever it is. And I'm just, we've got to learn. It's a simple, I've just said to Kev, what we found in all of our remedies, when we get to the bottom of it, is quite simple. Not to insult you all because we've researched for a long time and we both fell asleep on keyboards and woke up and had women shouting at us and animals going mad and rooms destroyed and whatever, all situations. So it's not an insult, but what we found is, at the bottom of it all, a very simple argumentations and points and things we probably would have been directly diverted away from and missed to some extent, haven't we? Yeah.
It's exactly what's happened. We make it all so complicated and bloody convoluted, etc. When the simple thing is, okay, I conditionally accept your kind offers and your claims. Can you just clarify X, Y, Z? And then I would be more than happy to consider your offer of services. Thank you. That's it. That's basically what we do.
Wait a minute,
It's very effective.
I need to check something. There's nobody in the room. There's hardly anybody on the .com. Let me see. Mia. Kathy. So people, Ian, people have been active. It's all right. The .com is alive and the beacon is on. I just thought it's a bit quiet and carry on with the rant. I was enjoying that. I'm sorry to have interrupted.
Forgot what I was saying there. I know. So that's all we do. It's very simple. Okay. You're making claims. That's brilliant. Thank you for your nice claims. If I could just, before I accept your offer, could you just clarify X, Y, and Z, please? And they can't. They just can't do it because they're not who they say they are in the first place. So we're just using their rules. That's all we're doing. The rules say this, the rules say that. So where have you come from where you don't need to follow those rules? That's all we're asking. And then if you answer satisfactorily, then we may consider your offer of services. Not we will accept. We may consider. Then they come back, they answer your question, say, no, I still don't want to do any business with you, Mr. Private Company. Thank you very much. Simple as that. It really is sort of simple. It's as deep and dark as you want to make it, or it's as simple as you want to make it. You know, exactly what we found out with the DWP stuff. You know, we funneled that now to a point where it's not mandatory. It's been brought to us by a court ruling, not by something we've made up, by a real court ruling, which I did post. I do believe, I think it was Bournemouth Disability News, something like that was the original post, where it says quite clearly it was ruled not mandatory. So it's not something we made up. We found it. It was presented to us, and it was just like, oh, that's it then. That's what you come down to now. You know, conditional acceptance still valid, but really it's just two questions. And they have to be honest. They have to be honest. And of course, that's what we're forcing them to now. If you're going to tell us it is mandatory, then where have I agreed to give my healthcare away? It's the same sort of basis along, look, hey, brilliant. You're who you say you are, you're professing to want to give us help. And we appreciate that. But could you just clarify X, Y, Z? We notice that you're registered here, which means you're a private company, but you've been pretending that you're government officials, inspectors, whatever you want to call them. So could you clarify that, please? Can I see that documentation? No, you can't.
Well, we would think if they're government, they would be officers of the government or officers of an office. They would come from an office of a government office. So that's why we say officers, not just police. Yeah. So then, if they're in fact agents from an agency that is not the government, but it's a driver vehicle license, I know it's children and different and not cars, but DVL has actually got kindly for you the agency part in its name, for you to put that with that, so know that we're not just clutching at straws, and it is an agency relationship. All non-governmental commercial activity is an agency relationship. It's proven, and it's in the trust and the agreements and the contracts and the constitution, the legislation. So we've got the agency agreement there, and they're purporting to do, so that's impersonating an officer as well.
Yeah.
Madness.
That's when you can go in and ask for their foreign agent registration, etc. Because that's what you're claiming to be. Then, in order for you to be that, you must be registered like this as a foreign agent. Are you? Well, you ain't got that paperwork either. It's like the DWP sending people stuff saying, we want you to come in to an interview under caution. Okay, more than happy to come into your interview under caution. Can I see your warrant card, your warrant number, and your bond? Show me those, and I'll make an appointment with you. Well, why aren't you speaking to me again? Why have you gone away? Oh, wouldn't be impersonating a police officer. Do you realise the consequences of that are up to 14 years in jail, etc., etc.? Bye. What? They stopped writing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all there, people.
It's just, and the sicker thing is that to all of this, what we've said, but mostly to regard to non-government officers, agents from agencies coming into man's life for no other reason than to look how to steal your kids off you. That's sickening. That is some mad shit, that is. And we can prove that alone. If we could prove that alone, I think there'd be a spontaneous riot. because that would make people sick like it does everyone else. So that would be grounds for management further of administration for ourselves, because there would be no it would crumble. There would be no interaction at all. What with the upcoming Brexit and the mismanagement of COVID, it's really, you know, I don't want us, the trust, or me, my mouth, our expressions and collective work and statements to then go out into the realm for others to go, what, that's true, the lot's gone, then well, that's why I'm so concerned about the private and putting stuff out with the answer. So before we go and do an Ike and get crikey about it, we go, we've got some shit to tell you, but when you're thinking what, get ready, because we've got a bit of a few options at the end as well. So there's some aftercare coming up. It's not just we've got to go out and destroy and loot, and it's not going to fix. It's just repetitive and annoying. We've got the brain power, we've got the resources, we've got technology and other technology. When I say that, I don't just mean chips. I mean the trust and the paperwork, and we could actually swing this round. It could potentially be done, and there's many things that are silent and invisible working in our favour that are there for you to discover. There really is. The handicap, yeah.
Yeah, we're having, you know, as I say, we've done some work recently for one of the parents, and as I say, I think we might have said that the people we sent the notice to, they've gone back to the second parent and gone, oh, this man, he's taken out an injunction on us. We've done nothing of the sort. But that's how stupid these people are. This is how much they know. We haven't taken out an injunction. We've asked lawfully askable questions under legislation that they are bound to, and then we've basically said, if you want to write back to us with nonsense, then there's a schedule of fees. If you write back and answer the questions, then we'll move on from this point. That's all we've done. And they've seen it as, oh, they've taken out an injunction. No, we haven't. We've done nothing of the sort. But if you want to see it like that and run away, or that's your excuse for saying you've run away because you know you're caught out, that's brilliant. But then you've still got the fact, if they don't come back to you, that's tacit acquiescence, and they can go, well, now you've caused harm, injury and loss from a position of deceit, which is provable. You've been uttering with false documents, which thankfully you've been very kind to send to us on every document you've sent. Now where are you going to go? Because you've given us the evidence we need too. So we've got it, thanks very much. So now we think we need to come and speak to you about the harm, distress, loss, injury that you have caused. You've broken up a family.
Bad business.
No authority.
Very bad business.
No authority to do it whatsoever. You split a family up under the guise of being the government, and you're not. What are you going to do about that? And by the way, when we finish with you, we're going to plaster it across the whole world, because every council's the same.
To get a video for the .com, I thought I'd posted it. I'll check again, but the live birth certificate of live birth. We got Mia and somebody else, Nick, I think it was, asking about midwife, home, hospital, and not being at a hospital, being born at home, and I think we've already answered that on previous videos, but we can brush over it again. The hospital is included, and the midwife would probably more than likely file. But generally, the red is the hospital registrar is, got to do the paperwork, and she's got to bring a certificate out then, hasn't she? Rather than, you see, just because it's at home, it's very rare man would escape not being registered, because the midwife is there mobile, isn't she? So she can do all the running about, even if the baby never goes to the hospital, really. Yeah. I'm not sure that that's what's happening, but I would imagine that's what because all the system doesn't like, the establishment doesn't like to lose anything, does it? So it will, by all means, try to recoup, much like the Vietnam and the dollars and the banks and what they did to stop the dollars going into different governments' hands and them claiming gold back. So it's essentially the same thing. They're going to stop the limit of gold, the flood.
It's mad. Just mad. I say, somewhere down the line, I say back in, well, when I was born in the 60s, you know, there wasn't so many midwives, especially when you got out into more rural areas. There wasn't, hence, you know, like when I was born, it was the doctor that attended. And then obviously a week, 10 days, whatever it was later, probably my mother, Dad was probably too busy drinking. I don't mean that nastily, that's more of a joke. I don't mean he was a pisshead, but he ran a pub, so she would have gone down, or maybe she had to attend the hospital, or maybe at some point after the birth, a midwife did turn up to administer the Guthrie test and the soul print and all the rest of it. It's all there. You can't not do that. You don't have to register, but those are things that are still done and have been done for many, 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 many decades. So you still, you know, at the system somewhere down the line, you're still going to see these people, and these records are still going to be made. Whether it's, you know, whether you have a baby in the hospital, well, beautiful, because all the forms are there, or whether you're out in the sticks, you have to crack on with it yourself and deal with it later. It's still coming, you know. They're not going to miss you being an asset. They need to add you onto the books to see how many millions you're going to bring to their little scheme.
It's quite quiet considering that we've got a lot going off, and I'm not sure why it's quiet. I'm not disappointed in any way, and the numbers are stagnating at 435, if not tinkering backwards, because man don't want to renew. So that's fine as well. It's, you know, we are struggling in some ways and we're excelling in others. So it's a nice balance. The scales are balanced, but some areas could do with a little boost, and some areas could do with a little slow down. We don't have a choice on that, and it's somewhat out of control. But what we can control, we are controlling. And there's notices, peace treaties, remember, still declarations to consider, independences. Donald Trump has said that the military are on standby to come to the areas that need it the most to give out with the army the vaccinations. That kind of made me shit my pants. I thought, if they're doing that now, then good lord, we've got a special relationship. We'll be influenced by that muppet. Boris won't take 2 minutes to say, actually, money to be made. We can pay the national debt off by getting these lot into his medical lab. The things that come through my mind, I shit you not. So I was like, we need to go up a gear collectively. It's not for me and Kev to outlay, you know, but the .com needs to, and I'm seeing that we're slowing down and not very active. It doesn't fill me with much hope, which is why I did that little rendition today to try and recruit when I'm not on the .com and I'm out on Facebook, YouTube, media platforms and making noise elsewhere. And you think, why isn't he giving the .com, you know, the attention? Is because we need to build and strengthen this place, and this has already got a lot of strength, and it's got most of the answers needed, necessary for many things. So it can look after itself, and it is self-governing like us, but it does get managed, and it has got a responsibility professionally, and you know, to conform with everything, expectations, and you know, the pressure that we feel. So we will not leave the ones, you know, out in the public. We have to try and show them. So that's all it is. And I'm just seeing that I'm a bit sceptical, and I'm trying my best. The Trust's trying his best, Kev's trying his best, and we're doing what we can, but it just seems a bit uncertain at the minute, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, these things we're doing at the moment, what we've just done for one of the brothers, and now we're helping out the partner or ex-partner or whatever it might be. They're still a family unit as such. You know, I think that might bring in some more people when they realise what we're doing. I was saying to Dave earlier, and we're not trying to be, well, I'm certainly not trying to be big-headed, but what I feel where we've got a slight an advantage, not that a lot of people realise at the moment, is a lot of groups out there talk about law and they're putting up the same old stuff. We've put it up. Goes round and round in circles. Oh, is this back again? Is that back again? We
Hmm.
are actually out there producing stuff that's being used, because we don't produce it just to go, oh, this might work. We use it. It's used. And
Yeah.
I've got to say, 99% is very effective. Using the DWP, where you have a little bit of backwards and forwards. But it is effective.
Yeah.
It's effective. It is working. We've got, and people that we've done this for will come forward and tell you. So that's where I see us as slightly different. We put our money where our mouth is. Our stuff is tested and works. Not just on us, like Graham and I did with the DWP. We were the guinea pigs for our process. No point throwing other people under the bus till you know if it works. And that's what we did. Then we released it.
Yeah.
Once we knew it was work, then we released it. Yes, some of it has to be tailored. But basically, the process we use, which is no secret, is very effective. It is effective. And, when that starts getting out about protecting your assets properly, especially anybody that's got any interactive with the alleged government agencies, we're not trying to piss them off, or well, we are, but what we're asking is to act correctly, and they're not. So when we go in and say, hey, the rules are, they disappear because they're not playing by their own rules. And that's what's so damaging. They're only there. Every name they get on their list, every child's name, or even adult's name they get on their list, they're getting paid for that. That is why they'll hang around as long as possible and drag this shit out and keep poking their noses in.
Yeah, because
they're getting paid every week for each name.
When they'll have asked for that particular, when they ask on that occasion, when there's no enforcement with an order, a concern, there's no harm and loss and injury for anywhere, but they want to pursue an avenue, a line of inquiry, they'll say, which they did say, and we was told this firsthand, they asked if it would be okay, alright, if they did not, do you want help? Would it be okay if we, not do you need help? Would it be okay if we? And those were the grounds that it was generally accepted on. So I bet you lots of money, lots of promises that there will have been a signature at some point somewhere after that just after that verbal. Could you just mind signing there? It's nothing really. It's just to say, that's the pitter patter they give, and they've got that signature and they're off, aren't they? Then boom, that's the key. And I was saying to Kev that perhaps man does need somewhat of governance for a little while, and things do need administrating, taken from Christopher of the Hitchens. But what we would like to do is ultimately stop being governed and administer ourselves. And there's somebody at some point in history, once knowing this, would have to ask the question: would it not be beneficial to man to have a middle interface between the lion's den and the street, and have that, and then that cuts off and makes it all official? If we are going to do this, then and the system isn't going to disappear, the financial monetary settle, then it makes sense. Because what have we got? We've got less abled mentally, physically, that are vulnerable. That I'm not on about the ones that can't be bothered, that Trisha Tomazepam Pitbull scenario, but that's off Keith Lemon, not me. I just said that was something I heard some years ago that will not leave me. Papa Tomazepam, Trisha's on. How he did that, Black Lives Matter, and even him imitating Trisha there, embedded in my mind with Pitbulls and Tomazepams, eh? Wow, thank you. What programming? Sorry, lost the
Sorry, just because you went. Listen, it's just it's sort of a tangent because you said BLM, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the report about the creator of BLM?
Go on, I don't know, but I would like to hear more on it.
He's been done for actual slavery.
Oh wow, brilliant.
With children. So that's the sort of people that are putting these groups together with convictions for actual slavery.
And then we got the fact checkers on that and everything, and where's this come from? That's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I saw it I saw it the other day. I can't think of his name. I'll try and find the post, but he has got convictions for exactly that.
I could
And
search
these are
it
the
now.
people going, hey, look, the slavery thing. Yeah, all of us that never got affected by it. We'll want money, free money. Give me free money, because somebody 300 years ago, my family was slave, so you've got to pay me, even though I've actually been involved in that very thing myself.
Madness, isn't it?
There's your fucking leaders. All fucking dirty hands in the trough. All of them. We need some beheading to start.
Yeah.
That's not too strong a solution.
Off with their head. Because it says, isn't it? You go to the jugular if you're going to go and fight these demons. There's no point just keep going this lower level and trying to. And I suppose the judge is a lower level in some ways. When you've got
It's just a knob.
the CEO and the higher court system. I mean, the magistrates judge, when you can go to the higher realms and pursue and make noise and use the evidences like what we've got here, we often find that these lot are running around, these lot, agents, unchecked, masquerading as, and they're giving out loads of paperwork because they're not expecting anybody to kick back. So we are finding that we're quite privy to must languages, things that they say, how they've said it, what the threats are in certain terms, and even admissions of positivity. Then I'll turn it around. They've written reports here and there saying that there's no concerns and all is well. Okay then, so why are you here now? What?
Yeah.
And it's not just one agency, there's two agencies that have encroached away in at different times doing this without any real need. So it just goes to show you that it's a dangerous place. Once somebody like us come in, we could do this, but this is what man should be doing, standard. And because no man really is, these have got a free run, and that's sickening, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah.
Wow.
It is, it's exactly. You see, so they're hanging around. You see, they're hanging up, so they've gone, right, our concerns are the children. Oh, look, let's do a report. The children are absolutely fine. Right, next revenue stream. Right, we're here for the children, so let's start picking on the adults. Hello? You weren't here for us. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Then you've got the thin blue line, which I have to say, in this case, they are turning up sort of randomly, but there's nothing for anybody to be concerned about them turning up, because there's fuck all going on. And they have stated as such. They have said there's absolutely, so it's obviously the council has spoken to them and said, we've got concerns of blah, blah, blah. So they're making random visits, even though it's a civil matter. So why they're involved, I don't know, but let's just forget that. And they're turning up going, we've not seen one bit of evidence for these claims that are being made. And that's a fact. And we're turning up randomly. We haven't been round once and everything's fine. We've been round somewhere between 7 and 10 days, but Christ knows how long, and we've seen none of it. So why are you still on at the parents then? Why have you now changed your tact to go to them? Because it's revenue, because their names are on the books, which means we've got our hands in the till, and we've got to keep them there as long as possible. I've got the same thing with the hospital, right?
Yeah.
And with a certain department for sleep apnea. I did the tests, they said mine was quite severe, they've given me a machine that I'm meant to wear, etc., etc. In the meantime, from when I was tested and given this machine, I've lost 8 stone. I don't have sleep apnea. Now the other thing is, the machine they give me to wear, if I use it, I actually wake up with asthma every morning. So I know it's the machine.
Yeah.
So I've said to them, look, there must be other people out there need your services. I can't use the machine because I'm waiting out there with asthma. And then they'll tell me, it doesn't give you asthma. Excuse me? 54 years, I've had asthma since birth, and they'll tell me to my face, I'm wrong. Look, it only happens when I use that machine. No, it won't be the machine. Okay. So I've said to them, I don't need, I think I'm wasted. I've even tried to give the equipment back to them. They wouldn't have it. Now I keep getting appointments. Oh, Mr. Phillips, you've got an appointment so-and-so. Are you going to be able to attend? No, I'm not attending because I've told you 9 times in text and to your faces, I do not need your services. The machine gives me asthma. I'm sure there's somebody out there that needs your services much more than me. Will they take me off the books? No. Not even when I don't turn up to appointments.
You have in the data GDPR the right to be forgotten.
Yes.
Do we not? The right to be, that's a good one to use sometimes. I don't know if it's applicable here, but my brain just said yes, away out. Possibly.
Yeah, that's it. So you have the right to be forgotten. These people that are coming to get your data or want your data or want to deal with you are not. They have no legitimate interest to have that data.
Where is that ruling? Is it in the GDPR?
That's in the GDPR.
God, we're getting good. We're getting good now.
Yeah. It's in the GDPR. Might even be DPA, but you do have a right to be forgotten for sure. But you see, so I have gone, and here's what pisses me off about this hospital thing. So they send me a letter. Oh, Mr. Phillips, come to an appointment on so and so. Please don't forget, non-attendance costs the NHS 160 quid. Well, fuck you. I've told you so many times I don't need your services, and I think you would be better bringing somebody in that does require your help. But no, will they let me go? No, because they're getting paid for my name being on that department saying I've got sleep apnea. That's why they won't get rid of me. Now, if I just didn't turn up to 3 appointments, they'd be discharging me to my doctor with a snotty letter. But when I tell them I don't need their services and that I'm wasting their time and it would be better spent, they don't want to know. No, we're just going to keep sending you appointments. That's because they're getting paid for me being on that department. That's what it is. I've not even used this machine for over a year. I can't use it. I wake up every morning with asthma. It's not a joke. I haven't woken up in the morning with asthma for years. That every time I use that, I wake up in the morning in a panic looking for my inhaler. But no, as far as that goes, it won't give you asthma. What, a machine that forces air into my lungs all the time I'm sleeping, which would be particular. I mean, it's not like some special HEPA filter on it or anything. Yeah. Hello, people. So even the people that are giving you this stuff don't understand. Well, of course it's giving me asthma. If it's pumping air into me all night and I'm waking up with asthma, what else can it be? If I don't wear it, I don't wake up with asthma. No, it's not the machine. Fuck's sake. So I'm done with them now. But I can honestly say probably 9 times I've said really politely, I can't use it. I'd be better. And I've pointed out, because they keep like to me, because of your weight. Hello, I've seen you 3 times since I lost 8 stone. What are you talking about? My weight.
Yeah.
And they won't have it. So that's because they've got their hand in the till with your name on there. They'll lose funding if you leave. So no, they won't let me leave, but will continue moaning. £160 if you don't turn up. Well, fuck you. I've told you enough times.
Yeah.
Log on.
Wow.
If you want to keep sending me letters and telling me about £160, I'm not even going to respond anymore. And they still won't throw me off.
Yes.
That's exactly what's going on. All the trusts, all the hospitals are private. All these, I said this before, anybody who posts stuff going, oh, this Brexit and this, that, and the Americans getting involved, they're going to sell off the NHS. It's too late, people. It's been sold. That's why every hospital is now a trust. It's already private. Forget all that shit. It's too late. It's done. There you go. That's it. Mr. Angry.
Yes. Thank you.
All
We're
Mia's
working
appeared.
on
Hello,
it.
Mia.
Yeah.
Mia's appeared. Got one person in tonight.
Yeah, I'll put some comments on about the certificates and whatnot, yeah.
Oh, yes.
For the replay. Yeah, it's been a bit quiet. We've done well. You have to catch up on the on the replay, we're just about to say goodbye, but if you need us for anything and you want to have a chat, we won't be rude and just get off by all means. No, thank you for joining me. Nice to see you, sister.
You're the only one. I'm missing Steve and Denise. Where are they this evening? How dare they do other things?
It's all good. It's all indicative of the times, I think. I don't know. We're all right.
Where's the rest of the Brady bunch? Exactly. Well, Dave did do I don't know if you saw it, but Dave did a bit of I'm going to use the word epic. It wasn't his most epic. I know what I mean is, epic by the length of broadcast, not what was contained. But there was a few people on that today, so we're not going to the public tonight. We're going to do that tomorrow because I think Dave's put out enough today.
Yeah, it's late. We'll come in Sunday. Sundays are good. A bit boring, aren't they? Sundays normally. So if we've got time and I'm not about an early Monday, I think it's a nice welcome niche. Songs of praise, words of phonics, instead of.
Yeah.
It might be good. Yeah, I like the Sunday aspect for public. Saturday private works well because just getting tired. That's all. I'm in a quite a nice rhythm, and I don't feel we can give as good as what we should if we just keep pushing and pushing. Yeah, so we have limits, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. So we were just saying it might be worth, when you get some time, have a listen back to the beginning of this. We're just explaining an issue that we've been brought into for some parents and the nonsense that's going on and how we're going to handle it, etc., etc. But really interesting times. Lovely conversation today me and Dave had with a lady who's probably quite new to what we do, but we've been in explained, and she's seen some other work we've done for people and realised the power of it. So that was really nice today. But it's just the way they've gone from, we're here for the children. Then the reports have been made from two different agencies, one being the Thin Blue Line. The first agencies, the initial agency are like, it's absolutely, everything's fine, they're well looked after. And then the Thin Blue Line of basically making random visits, and they've gone, we've seen absolutely no evidence of any of the claims being made, everything seems wonderful. So what do these agencies do? Let's start having a look at the parents then. Basically, there's nothing we can do with the kids. Now we're in the door, let's start having a look at the parents. But hang on a minute, you came for the kids, you've made statements yourself that everything's fine. Even the police, the constabulary, who you've brought in because of spurious allegations, as far as we can say, are saying, we've seen no evidence of any of this. What is going on? I say now they go, we better turn our attention over there then. We need to get another two names on the books, keep drawing money for them as well. It's outrageous. I say, in their own words as well, there are no issues. The children are well looked after. Yeah. There are no concerns. But we're going to hang around. What? Joke. Absolute joke. And I'm not knocking the Thin Blue Line either, can I just say, in this situation.
We know it's
the
true.
Thin Blue, they seem to be actually helping in this situation. And it's nice to see that, in a way, even though it's civil and they shouldn't really have their noses in it, they are actually there for the right reasons, even though they're in the wrong jurisdiction. So I can't fault them for that, and in a way I'm glad they are there, but I'm really glad that they're saying, these claims that they've contacted us about, we see no evidence for it.
Well, there could be even foul play by neighbours or jealous things. Yeah. There's been some kind of mudslinging that they've investigated and found the lady to be innocent. So these are serious. When we say damages, there's been some serious messing around. And when you've not got a brilliant, clean past, then you feel all the more duty bound to clear your name and to work with the people that present themselves claiming to be, when none of that is as it is, and the claims are false, and it's a bit dirty. Yeah, it's made us feel a little bit sick. We
Yeah.
are going to we're going to stop the ones that are coming to ask to give the help, giving the help, because if they give the help, it will be detrimental.
Yeah.
That's just, it makes you just sick.
They're literally hanging around now to try and find something, and they're asking questions, and this is what you've had to explain. Look, they're not, those questions they're asking you, they want to hear your answers to see if they can construct some sort of charge against you or reason for them to hang around anymore. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, exactly what we said. Exactly what we said, Mia. To this, that look, we're here to protect your property, because that's what it is. We're just generalising with the words. We understand the words, but like we said, that's what we're here to protect: your assets, your property. So, and as I say, these agencies.
We're soldiers. Yeah, we're all good, but yeah, we just we
one
have
of
to.
them's malicious. The other one seems to be going. Well, they've reported something to us, and in our X amount of visits, which sounds like quite a few, we've seen none of it.
Yeah.
So, brilliant. Thanks, Thin Blue Line. We're going to use that. Thank you very much for your efforts. Your care and consideration is much appreciated. Simple.
The administrators are there to collect assets, not children. Yeah, the assets of the family. That's what it's all about. It's not so much property assets. They're an asset to you, but it's just disgusting. We're gonna use this as an example when it's done and dusted, and we've got the articulation and the concise verbiage, and it will be short and concise, and what the questions will be. I can't wait to see what Kev's going to have a field day. He actually enjoys it, as you can tell. So we have a passion, all of us. But when you're doing something like this, it's very serious. It's not a car. It's someone's family, and without the backing of a judge, a writ, an order, a concern, any kind of, then it's a clear and cut case. And I feel really sorry because there's more. This is just a simple one. Not just but it's a simple one, but there are more complicated ones out there that need help, that they should be helping, that they're not. But because this looks like an easy vampiristic way to get a meal, they're going to stick with it because it's easy and there's not really much to do except set them up. So I'm like, wow, you realise what we've both said, you realise the dangers, and they do now, but not so much. Even the court, they mentioned court, and we're like, whoa, they're not family courts. These are rooms that they hire out. It's not a court, and even that bit, she's like, oh, really? Well, yeah, generally, we find the higher courts, the high courts are a high court. The council's court is a council's room that's pretending to be a court. It's a place of business, love. And Kev did really well explaining all of that, so... it was really nice to be on. It's one of the types of lines of duties of help that we give information for, where you can tell you're doing the right thing, you've relieved somebody, and you can tell more or less by the things that they say that they're not lying, and that this is really a shameful, horrible experience for them. And I think we've got good at that, interpreting, Kev, and I got a good boost from it. Real work. Real work.
It was nice to, it's nice to explain to somebody, give me a court. Right, hang on, let me tell you about the courts. They're not courts. This is what happens. The council rent a room. They're not even, the people in there aren't even judicial, got nothing to do with law. It's all, she was like, just if we can imagine. But just explain to them. So they're making threats of things that are bullshit. And what I'm loving at the moment is obviously it seems we've got the Thin Blue Line going, well, everything they brought us in for is completely unfounded. So we might be able to go to them and go, okay, well, we've now got an issue about those claims they've made because they're all false and they're not what they say they are. So fancy jumping in with us and giving some evidence.
Duty bound, if they're witnesses to something, they're duty bound to. Their forms will be
witnesses to the fact. They're witnesses to the fact that the claims are false. That's what they're witnesses to. By their own words.
And these people that we've communicated with on the father's behalf have interpreted a conditional acceptance for an injunction, so it pretty much is going to be a game set default and here's the bill kind of a scenario we're thinking, aren't we?
Opportunity to cure outside of the system. You've sent us all the evidence we need. We've got all the rest of the evidence we need to prove that you're not who you say you are. So all of these threats and visits and harassment and stress you've caused.
Claims, yeah.
Yeah, they require remedy. And they require compensation for your criminal actions. So you've got a choice. You can settle out, or we'll take you into the realm, kick your ass, and then we'll release it everywhere. I'm going to do that anyway, but you know, I say I'm laughing, but we are here to protect the assets, and there are children here, 3 children in particular, that these people are just hanging around trying to find something to then escalate the situation, and that's what they'll do. But as I say, the beauty is we've now got the thin blue line going. We can see nothing. Or the claims made, we've seen no evidence of any of it. As I say, it's not on one visit, multiple visits. So it's not like, and it's random too. It's not like you're getting a phone call on so and so a day at such and such a time, we will turn up. No, they're random. And nothing has been found. So, you know, and that's in their own words. The ladies had that said to her. We use that. How are you justifying what you're doing? and lying about who you are too. Oh dear. Yeah, I can see them running away, but they're not just going to walk from this one. They're not just going to, like, the guy's a bit different. They've run away from him, although we've had letters since where they're still basically talking about him, which I would construe as processing data. There's a little thing we could do there as well. So we've got the evidence that you're continuing to process this man's data when we've told you to bugger off under the data protection rules, and you haven't. So there's issues there too, but as I say, it seems to me the authorities both are agreeing it's all unfounded. So what the hell are you doing here then? Go and see somebody. Go and see that kid that won't speak to you, but you're hiding in the corner, living in shit conditions. That's where you should be, but no.
Link, alright, we will be looking at, thanks Kev, HMRC from the observation deck, alright, I will have a look at that later on. Grazie. That's a link there. Okay, I'll copy that now in case it goes somewhere else. I'm clicking on it at this moment. And I'm opening a tab so it's in my history. Bella, 2 minutes 13. Alright, that's a short one. That's easy enough then. What? Yeah.
That's what I was saying, Mia. I was saying to Dave that just a simple do a DSAR, GDPR, DPA, FOIA, combine it. You're allowed to do that. And write to the CEO of HMRC and say, and just point out the facts. We've been bankrupt since 31. We're in Chapter 11, fact. Bankrupt since 31, fact. We can't use cash under Chapter 11 bankruptcy, fact, says so. So please, as I understand the only way to offset, or the only way to pay any debts is to offset while you're bankrupt, could you give us the process, please? I can't argue with it. They might not give you the process, but there's the fact. Bankrupt can only discharge. Are you forcing us to use these debt notes? So I'm now putting, Christ knows how many generations, in even more trouble because you're forcing us to use these debt notes when in fact we're not meant to use them because we're under Chapter 11. The proper remedy is to offset. Please forward it to me forthwith. Thank you. Let's see what happens.
I'm just putting that link in. I'll just put it into the .com, into the newsfeed, so I can look at it later. And I've tagged Mia and Kevin in it. I believe
Right.
both of you. Yeah, thank you. I know Mia's seen it. I've just said thank you to Mia, and I've tagged you. So when you log on, you'll see all your bits
Okay.
I'll put in. Not now, but whenever when in the
Yeah,
near
yeah.
future. I'm absolutely starving Marvin. So if you're all right, Mia, with the replay and what we've done already, then I'd like to go and eat. And I know it's quite selfish, but if you're okay, my love, is that all right? Can we look to wrap up and?
Yeah, I'm ready. I mean, I'm waiting for Anne to come home. She's bringing me burgers from a party. So I've got to wait till my food arrives.
Oh, are we really? There we go. It's gone in. We've got the link there. Thank you, Mia. Yeah, all right then. That's nice and okay. But I hope you put in an order, or are you getting a selection of a?
I phoned her up to say, I said, now look, I'm just about to phone David, so do not ring me because we'll be broadcasting and I don't want to be rude and cut you off. So she said, oh, that's okay, I'll be leaving soon. I'm bringing you a couple of burgers home from her brothers. Like, brilliant. I've got food coming. Because I haven't eaten, of course. She's gone out on a jolly, left me here with the children. No food, just bread and water.
29 minutes, part 3. There, 2 before. Oh, brilliant! Yeah, I will watch it in its entirety. But if it's a mammoth one, then excellent.
No, 29 minutes is all right.
Now she said it'll be 29 minutes. Oh, the video, yeah, part 3 is 29 minutes. So there's 2 before that. Yeah, brilliant. We got some echoes going around, and mans are picking up different technologies now. It's no longer so much the constitutional banking type arguments or so much as the mainstream narrative was before. It's an evolution of a renaissance in many ways, and the articulation, as long as the end job gets done and the settlement debts get serviced or accounts are done correctly as per the right way, as we know, then offset discharge charges, when we talk about this, then power to us, yeah, we're helping to push it out there. A for V, accepted for value, is the full term, it's foreign to most, UCCs, and the contract and the way that it is, and all contract, which isn't contract, which is agreement, which is agency, which is just, it's a brilliant place to be, isn't it? So we have got a lot of straightening out to do, and a bit of meeting in the middle for some, and it's going to be interesting. So thank you, it's all appreciated. We're getting a lot in at the moment, and we're very busy. So thank you, sister. Much love to you for your comments, for your time, and to all on the replay. Hello, thank you. Where are you? Can you not make it live? We need you.
Every Saturday night we're here. Approx 9:30, people. Come on, you know.
We're getting
if you want it live, that's where we are. But all I want to say, thanks for joining us, Mia. Good to see you. I can't wait to get this next notice done and delivered. So you probably, realistically, that probably won't be available for anybody to look at, although it would be fully redacted by that point, obviously. But probably 40 days. Realistically, because we've told them to jog on for 10 days, and we'll serve them within the 10 days, and then they've got 30 to respond. I know for a fact if they respond, it's going to be nonsense, because I know how powerful this is going to be. They won't be able to respond without revealing the game, so they generally don't respond. So it's going to be sort of 40 days, but say this is a general thing. Anybody in that situation will be able to utilise. The only difference will be it will depend on each situation as to what questions are asked. But there will be some standard questions that will apply to all. Roy, the dog is on the telly.
We have got
Sorry.
We have got in the resource library. There is an upload for recent, and it's conditional acceptance. Let me just check while I'm saying that. I did. I'm sure I put it there. The one that we did for the fella. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little bit simpler because he was sort of not absent by his own choice. That's what they'd done. They'd sort of set him outside of the realm, and yet they still wanted to get him in. So I say the one for him was perfect.
It's there.
It did the job.
5th of July, 1 month ago I put it on, 31 downloads, Kev, so conditional acceptance for local authorities, councils, after civil domestic issues, 1 month, 5th of July, it's in, go have a look at that one, and then you're going to get a fatter one than that for these reasons that we will discuss later on, yeah. Be careful.
Yeah, we've got a copy of the agreement, which, as I say, a lot of the stuff they're asking for in there is just beyond their authority. But of course, people don't realise because they think they're the government. So that's basically, it's going to be a lot of that. But say each thing is tailored, depends what they're asking you. But there's going to be some general stuff, which is like the usual: who are you? Where's your authority come from? You claim to be this, but actually, on investigation, we see you're registered as that, private business. Hence, you're not who you say you are. There's basic stuff. And then you tear into the fine points that they're requiring of you.
A lot of our notices are quite popular. I'm looking at the documents, just I'm listening, and I'm conscious I want to go because I am Hank Marvin. They're doing well, yeah. It seems that there's we got sort of heavy on the download of conditionals and notices and fees, and it's good. That tells us that we are doing what we are here for, but we need to work on. See, some areas are really strong and well, and without much trouble. But some areas we've got to pick up the pace. I'm aware of that, which that's why we're doing what we're doing, and including others and trying to pick up and help. And we promised not to leave the ones out. We said we'd look after. So it's just a last push, and yeah, I'm happy with that though, Kev. They're doing well, brother. You should feel proud for yourself as well, my man.
Nice. I must go. Yeah, I don't really. I go in and have a look at messages and blah blah blah. I don't often go and have a look and see what's going on with the docs.
Fly.
Fly's
here.
Time.
Got Fly with me. I've had Fly buzzing around the room all this time, and Fly's gone.
See, spiritually connected.
Fly on wall.
Fly on wall.
Wow. Right then, let's go. What's Mia saying? I'll just have another quick look at the room. I've refreshed it. Some hearts and flowers. Much love and all on the replay. Thank you for your support, each and every one of you, new and old supporters, like long time supporters, and new is the words digging holes. Kev, please.
Yeah, it's all good. Thanks for joining us. Anybody got any interaction, with agencies and stuff, especially, councils purporting to be property that they might be sticking their noses into, then give them a shout, tell them to come along, have a listen to what we got to say. That'd be nice. We can get a few more people in the .com actually looking at the work we've done. As I said earlier, I know there's a lot of law groups out there, and most of it's they're putting up the same old info, always seems to go round and round in circles. But the difference is we are interacting, we are producing stuff, real stuff, not just, hey, try this. Nothing gets put up until it's been tested. And we're being very effective. And as I say, all we're doing is asking questions, conditionally accepting and going, hey, love to consider your services. X, Y, Z. And answer that, and maybe we'll consider, your offer. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. And it's very effective. Because we ain't criminals, and they are.
I'm on that happy now. Ciao for now. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Ciao for now. Much love.
Love to you all. Thanks for listening. Anybody listening on the replay, hope you're all well. Come join us live. It's much more fun. See you soon. Thank you.
Bosh. Thank you all. Thank you, Mia. Goodbye. Thank you, Kev. Let's do this.
No worries.